My name is Abdallah El Shehaby. I'm a partner with Jurisera attorneys at law. I've been practicing for some 20 years now in local and international law firms in a number of jurisdictions. I do mainly dispute resolution, both arbitration and litigation and mediation. I focus on construction, banking and finance, M&As, and sports law. To maintain a sustainable law practice, you have to be fair and allow people to have what is rightfully theirs. And this is how we started. We are a full-fledged law firm. We do more or less every legal aspect that is related to business law. In Egypt, we focus mainly in Egypt, UAE, and Saudi. I would divide the challenges into two buckets. The people bucket, all what's related to decision making and internal and external politics, and the legal bucket, which is, as you rightfully said, not just navigating through legalities over a number of jurisdictions, but also because sports law in general is a cross-disciplinary, cross-sectional law. So it's not just sports, but there is competition, labor, corporate, investment, capital market, procurement, and so on and so forth. Although sports might come across as a business of leisure, for lawyers it's not. It's a sophisticated field, and it gets even more sophisticated as things do develop. On the people front, the main issue when you represent an election-based client where it does not belong, you do not have owners, there are no shareholders, there are no people of direct ownership interest, right? Your client is the entity, so you have at the end of the day to look after the interest of the entity. And that's not necessarily the drive of everyone within this entity. So to push the decision towards the right legal direction that wouldn't expose the entity, this was challenging, and definitely due to confidentiality, I wouldn't be able to disclose much on this. But I think any lawyer who's representing an election-based client would understand the heat and the challenge. On the legal front, I had hoped that Jus AI was there at the time, but unfortunately it wasn't. So we had to work with, we had to dig ourselves the law across the different jurisdictions before getting local advisors, because the fact that you get a local advisor wouldn't lift this burden off your shoulder as the coordinator or the main counsel. In order for you to be able to ask the right questions, you have to educate yourself first. So there is a certain level of self-education that you have to undertake before getting the advisors on board. Generally speaking, the law is an ever-changing product, right? But it all depends on how frequent it changes and how it changes, the procedure of changing the law, because the law is not just what is written in the code. The law is what happens on the ground, how it is applied. And the application, between the theory and the application, there can be huge discrepancies. How do we dealt with this? It was not easy. A lot of sleepless night, all-nighters 2-3 days a week at least. A lot of conversations off the record and on the record. And I can't say that it was 100% successful. There were ups and downs. At the end of the day, we were able to close it and settle it. But this was, few years later, few years of hassles and hustle. Since we started to use Jus AI, I personally use it across the board, and I even beyond that, me being me, I started to come up with challenging question. I mean, question that I know that will be. I'm trying to make it fail, but so far it doesn't. So let's distinguish between sitting as an arbitrator and acting as a counsel, and how one would use the feature from both perspectives, from both seats. As counsel, it helps you across the case in all the phases of a given case. So it would help you with the fact finding and assessment. So it would help you extract the relevant facts, put them in chronological order, produce a factual chart, produce an index chart, analyze the witness statement that you gathered. So definitely it helps you, and it saves time. On the arbitrator front, however, it has a different use. Similar uses when it comes to chronological factual chart, because it's needed across the board, but also it would help you to remain on top of your case throughout the procedure. If you're the presiding arbitrator or the sole arbitrator, you will have to double the work. What does this mean? It means that with every submission, you have to read it, including the unsolicited, unscheduled submissions that some of the parties would do, in order for you to be able to manage the case properly. And then, after the case is complete and ready for you to issue the award, you would re-study the case fresh all over again. So you double the work, while what you need throughout the progress of the case is just certain information. But in order for this certain information to be looked at within context, without being dissected from their context and accordingly give you misleading directions, you have to read all the submission. But with the uploading feature, you upload the submission, you ask the right questions, you ask for the summary, that's first, and then you would ask the right questions, and you're abreast with the case until the case is complete, and then you sit and you study the case once and for all. Two things. The fact that I know that hallucinations are kept to the minimum. That's very important. And two is explanation of the results, the blue footnotes. Because sometimes, although the answer might not be in the shape that you would take and put in a submission or take and communicate directly to a client, the blue bullets, the footnotes, are always very leading. So you can either ask the question in another way, or go extract the entire document and ask for summarization. since I started using using Jus AI, I kept on remembering a saying that they used to told us in first year of law school. They would tell us, un bon juriste, c'est celui qui se pose les bonnes questions. So a good lawyer is this who asks himself or herself the right questions. So I think now this is what it boils down to, asking the right questions, and the answers are just there. Knowledge is no longer an issue. Usage of knowledge is. This is, I think, at this stage, what would differentiate a good lawyer, a good arbitrator from a not so good lawyer or arbitrator. Not knowledge, because knowledge is out there, simple to get. Skills and perspective.